Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Rally Towel Sports. We've got a great show for you tonight. We are going to be talking about Joe Burrow and his apparent calf injury, Justin Herbert getting paid, Rodgers taking a pay cut. The NFL is back in full swing, so you know that means Rally Towel Sports is in full swing too. As well as we're going to be discussing some of our favorite storylines headed into this NFL season and a couple of teams that we think might be able to surprise some people this year. All that and more tonight here on Line to Gain, presented by Rally Towel Sports. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Line to Gain, presented by Rally Towel Sports. I'm Corey. This is Aaron. And today was a roller coaster of emotion for me today, Aaron.
Yeah, why don't you walk us through that, Corey?
So I'm sitting at work, finish up my weekly management call. We gather as a team for synergy purposes. And I wrap that up, and I get an alert from Adam Schefter. Burrow is hurt. That's all it says. Burrow is hurt. And I'm thinking maybe like a funny thing happened at training camp, and somebody, he's playing around like Josh Allen did or some shit like that, No. Then I see the video with the cart coming to pick him up. Ryan, thanks for liking the stream, buddy. And my heart falls out of my asshole, and I am panicking. I start sweating. I'm freaking out. I don't know what the fuck is going on. And my head is like, I watched the video. I'm like, Achilles. It's gone. Snapped his Achilles. It's over. Season's over. Super Bowl's gone. All of it. I'm hurting. I'm dying. I don't know what's happening. I'm losing my mind, Aaron. I wanted to crawl under my desk and die at that point in the day.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I start coming back to reality.
A little bit,
bit by bit. And all right, it could be the heat. It's really hot.
It's really
Big
hot.
Heat wave. It's what everybody keeps talking about, how fucking hot it is all the time.
It's supposed to be 140 here tomorrow.
Could just be 106 tomorrow is the feels like in Cincinnati.
Right, which is what the temperature is then. Let's be honest. It's not, it's 89. No one cares about 89.
Thank you. Yeah, fuck that.
Well, actually, it's 89 degrees, buddy.
Yeah, eat, shut up, Eugene, as I'm assuming your name is.
Yeah.
And come back to it. It could be heat. Could have just cramped up due to the heat. Seeing reports that, he had, it was sore after practice yesterday. Now we're starting to hear, all reports are coming in that Joe Burrow has a calf strain.
Mm-hmm.
Which is probably the best case scenario, right?
Yeah, you know what this kind of reminds me of? You remember like 6 years ago when there was like a glitch and people in Hawaii got the notification where they were like, there's a nuclear bomb on the way?
Yes.
And people in Cincinnati were crawling into the sewers. They were like, it's over. You crawled under your desk. You're ready to die.
Yeah, we got down to the sewers. We were like, look at all these Ravens fans.
And then they were like, no, false alarm. And then everyone in Cincinnati's hearts went right back inside their assholes a little bit.
We were just like terrified. And I mean, can he get a fucking break, please? Can Joe Burrow get a break, please?
I mean, yeah. Anytime you see non-contact football injuries, that is never, and obviously he's the quarterback and we're like a week into training camp. So of course no one was going to be around him or touching him. Like, he wears the red jersey. Now, of course, I root for a team that rivals the Bengals. And when we first saw this, what was the first thing I said, Corey? I said, I really don't want this to be the case. Listen, I can root against the Bengals. That's fine to do on the field, right? I don't want to see the best player in Cincinnati hurt. I don't think anyone ever wants to see, anybody get hurt like that.
Yeah.
By all accounts, like you had just said, seems more like a scare than anything. At the very least, if something's going to happen, have it happen early in training camp. Get a little break. But yeah, I mean, I know how, that's as Burrow goes, so goes the season for Cincinnati, right?
Yeah, pretty much every team's that way, right? As
Well, 100%,
by way of the quarterback, right? And what I mean earlier, can he get a break? I mean, let's look at Joe Burrow's offseason since coming into the NFL. Drafted in 2020, pandemic. Following year, dealing with a knee rehab. The following year after that, appendectomy. And this year, seemingly a calf injury. Ryan coming into the chat here saying there are 3 levels of calf strain. I don't know what they are. I'm sure they're just different levels of severity. One probably could sideline him for the entire preseason. I don't think we see Joe Burrow taking any meaningful snaps in the preseason. Meaningful is a weird word to use with preseason, but at the same time, literally yesterday after their first practice, Joe is in the press conference saying, I'm just really excited to have a full training camp.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to get these reps. I feel like these reps help me make me better. They get me where I want to be. And I think we saw a little bit of that rust last year in week 1 against the Steelers. You had 4 interceptions.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
That's fair.
So I think, while, Aaron, you're saying, you don't want him hurt. I believe you. I know that. And I think Joe Burrow, Tez, thanks for liking the stream, man. I think Joe Burrow is going to be ready for week 1. I haven't heard anything otherwise. Everything seems pretty optimistic to where it's going to be, bounce back relatively. Probably just take it easy over the next week or so and bounce back.
Right.
But, that is missed time. And if I'm if I'm a Browns fan and you're like, yeah, Joe Burrow is going to be good for week 1, but he's also going to miss some time and he might not be as sharp, I'm going to be like, yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, I mean, but I think from the Bengals perspective is you're not really auditioning a bunch of, it's a group of guys who have played meaningful snaps in the regular season and in the playoffs. You're not onboarding a new coach. You're not onboarding a new offensive coordinator. You have the guys that are in the system. Joe Burrow is going into his 4th year. It's not like a rookie or a rookie head coach or something like that. So don't get me wrong. I hear you. The lost time is not for nothing, but compared to, when you have a push notification come to your phone that you did to where you are right now,
yeah,
it's fairly fortunate because it's football, man. We all know that every single player is a play or a ligament away of a completely drastically different career, and you never want to root for that, of course.
No.
But it's an unfortunate part of the game that does, make it something that, you see Herbert just got paid, and we were going to talk about that, not to just transition over to it, but they were asking Joe Burrow about it, and he's like, I'm not worried about it. We'll get a deal that's good for me, good for the team, good for my teammates, good for the fans. That'll happen when it happens. And you see something like this, and you're like, "Oh, dude, get the bag."
Yo, and you know what? If I'm Joe Burrow, I'm not touching the field until I get that contract.
Yeah, and he doesn't strike me as the type that's like going to do that out of like principle. But at this point, too, I don't see what
this puts things in a different perspective.
Yeah, who's your backup quarterback?
Trevor Siemian. I mean, better than Brandon Allen, I guess, but
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what name you could. I would more so was just curious because I don't think there's a name you could say where be like, oh, well, yeah, you're fucking fine.
Oh, dude, yeah.
No Burrow, no problem.
Gardner.
Gardner is my favorite backup. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. And
he's not great.
It was. I mean, so let's talk about it then. I think that the business decision probably does come into a little bit of play here. Herbert getting a 5-year. $52 million deal, I believe it was.
Contract.
Massive contract.
Yeah.
How do you feel? I mean,
it's exactly we had this conversation a year ago when we were talking about the Deshaun thing, where it's like oh my God, I can't believe he got that. Yeah, until the next quarterback gets paid. It's just how it works, guys.
Yeah.
Like outside of what we just saw from Rodgers, which we'll touch on here in a little bit, but yeah, that's just how the quarterback market works. The salary cap keeps going up. So, the percentage of the cap that's going towards quarterbacks is going up as well. You got to pay your guys. And it's interesting to see a guy like Herbert who hasn't won a playoff game.
Hasn't done much.
He's certainly
had a 27-point lead in the playoffs and didn't win.
I don't want to necessarily make this comparison, because if you watched that Chargers game, I'm not really blaming Herbert for that loss necessarily. But it reminds me a lot of the Angels in baseball. It's like you got Trout and Ohtani.
The Chargers, you're saying?
Yeah. And it's like, I don't blame Herbert for the Chargers being terrible or not having the success. Now, of course, it all comes down, to the quarterback. But I've watched a lot of Chargers games, and very rarely have I watched them and go, oh, boy, Herbert really put them in a bad position in this one.
Sure. I mean, a couple of mishaps, I think, not taking care of the football, but, that's going to happen. My biggest thing is, and I don't know if it's Herbert, but whenever that offense gets down into the red zone, they become terribly inefficient. They just they can't score. They cannot score touchdowns. If they score touchdowns, they're I feel like they're at least 40 yards or longer. I don't know. It just seems that way whenever I do happen to catch a Chargers game, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I do a bunch of film research on the fucking Chargers, but it just seems like when I do watch it, they just kind of collapse in the red zone, settle for a lot of field goals, or end up going for it and not getting it, right? And maybe that comes back to Brandon Staley. Maybe that's back on the play caller and the head coach not putting his team in a position to where they're able to be efficient in the red zone and convert those opportunities into 6 versus 3, right? I don't think the Chargers are in a bad spot hitching their wagon to Justin.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to pay him that.
Yeah.
What's the alternative?
Exactly. And in this wait another year? That's the alternative. Wait one more year.
Look at the amount of money that somebody like Kirk Cousins makes.
Yeah.
And Kirk Cousins is always the person we describe as he's like 16, 15, 14, best quarterback. He's not gonna kill you, but he's not gonna put you on your back either. Mm-hmm. So I just, again, what's the alternative is let him walk and hit the reset button on what? You found the guy. I truly. This quarterback, did I get cut out there? Oh, there we go.
We're back. I don't know what the fuck just happened.
I don't know what just happened.
My name changed.
Way to go, Andre. Who's Andre Three Stacks?
I mean, one of the greatest MCs of all time. But I mean, it's not a big deal.
Anyways, yeah. Listen, you got to pay Herbert that money. You got to do it. Quarterback is the most important position across sports.
Yeah.
He has shown to be pretty much kind of like your prototype that you're looking for out of a young quarterback. Of cannon arm, can move. Outside of the fact that the only thing I'm still not sure of about Herbert is, can I have a passive leader in the pocket or in the huddle?
Yeah.
He seems like a very chill, mellow guy. And by all accounts, maybe that's just how he presents himself to the media. You close the locker room doors and he's a fiery guy. But he just doesn't seem that vibe. But also, do you really need that?
I think kind of I think kind of when your back's against the wall, you kind of want that. I think need it, maybe not, but want it for sure. Patrick Mahomes has that.
Being in a relaxed state. Let's say, you're on the last drive of the game. There was the famous story of Joe Montana in one of this. It was against Super Bowl against the Bengals. Sorry, but they get, when they went down to drive at the end, there was 90 something yards. And there's the famous story where he told them in the huddle, he's like, is that John Candy up there? In the stands? And cause he's just listen guys, this is, this is, calm it down, we'll be chill. And everyone kind of followed suit and was relaxed because they couldn't believe how relaxed this guy was in the most insane moment ever.
Sure. I think there's a little bit of that, but I don't know. I'm looking at the most, the best quarterback in the league. And yeah, sure, calm demeanor, but at the same time has that ability to fire it up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, for sure. 100%.
I think Burrow does that as well. Fires it up a lot when he needs to, but at the same time, very calm, very poised under pressure.
But he's got that Joe Cool mantra. Like he's like, I would believe that like Burrow is a fiery competitor.
Yeah.
I just think he presents himself as this like super chill, kind of guy. But I know he can fire up the team. I've seen him do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I just haven't seen Herbert do that.
I think Josh Allen is that. Is that as well? That let's go, that rah type of thing. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say.
Just a big goober. Like everyone's just like, oh, Josh, you silly boy.
Would you rather have Herbert or Josh Allen?
Does age factor, or am I just taking like from right now?
I mean, it's like what 2-year difference?
I don't know.
I mean, Herbert stayed his senior year as well, so they're not that far off in age.
That's such a tough question. That's like such a good question.
Thank you.
I think I'd take Herbert.
I think I would too. I really do. I have concerns about Josh Allen this year.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to run as much.
I have concerns about like where does it go from here? Where does the game go from here? And there were concerns his rookie year. He took those away. Like completion percentage concerns, right? Like somewhere in like the low 50s in terms of completion percentage.
I don't know. I was very vocal his rookie year about how he was just going to be terrible. So I've been having to walk with that L in my back pocket, like for his whole career. And I own it. You got to eat crow when you're wrong.
Sure.
But I'm sorry, a guy who had like a 55% completion percentage in college, the one stat that actually translates from college to NFL.
And then he does it his rookie year.
Right. And he just has this cannon arm where it's like, all right, that's great, man, but it's gonna be cold in Buffalo, man.
I have a lot of like ball security concerns as well. Like he fumbles the football a lot and he also turns it over a lot.
Yeah, but that's kind of part of it.
Yeah, but we can't. I mean, just because these guys are like the best, like up at the top tier, like they have flaws. I don't think we can make excuses for, like, I don't think we can make excuses for the fact that Herbert hasn't won a playoff game. Hasn't happened.
No, but I would not be surprised if there was somebody who came back from the past and told me both Josh Allen and Justin Herbert are going to win Super Bowls in their career. I'd be like, okay, I can believe that.
Sure. Fair enough. Or too early to say right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, not writing these guys off. I don't want to come across.
I hope not, because someone just got the richest NFL contract.
Right.
Like, I'm done with that guy.
But yeah, I just and that's the guy I would rather have, right? I would rather have Herbert as well. So just like you said, but
I like Herbert more as a passer.
And that's what I want, right? I don't want a dual threat. I don't want that.
Well, here's the thing. Josh Allen, without a doubt, has the better rushing ability. But it's not like Herbert has none, and it's the same thing and it's not like Josh Allen is a bad thrower by any means. I'm not saying that. I prefer a traditional NFL passer that can scoot as opposed to the other way around.
Yeah, he moves if he has to.
Yeah, exactly. He can scramble, get you the first. Honestly, it's kind of similar to like I compare Herbert a lot to he's like poor man's Mahomes.
Yeah,
because Mahomes can move when he needs to.
Mahomes,
he's surprisingly.
That's actually where you want him if you're a Chiefs fan, right? That's what you want Mahomes to do is get out of the pocket and make something happen because that's where the magic happens. Right. I think Burrow's like that. I think Deshaun is like that. I think Hurts has really taken a step over the last season of doing that as well. Russell Wilson does that really well. Creating outside of the pocket is one of the best things that they do. And you have to respect it because you know that they have the ability to move on their feet and pick up 7 real quick.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think having the ability to do it is key, but I'm with you on the fact that when I evaluate which quarterback I would rather have, it's always the guy that's got the more accurate, better arm. It's always that. It's never going to be like, let's say Herbert didn't have legs, like he was a statue in the pocket. I think I'd still rather have him.
Yeah, I don't know about that. That I can't say.
Okay, so Tom Brady's mobility is what I'm saying.
On Herbert,
yeah,
I'd rather have Allen at that point.
I don't think so, because I think Herbert is a more accurate passer.
Yeah, but he hasn't won a playoff game with his legs. Now you're taking him away.
Well,
I see how it makes him better. Is all I'm saying.
No. I'm not saying it does.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that his arm is that much better than Josh Allen's. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, maybe. If that was the case, though, I would definitely go with Allen.
I hear you, and I think that's okay. Yeah. But just making the point that, again, I think when I'm looking at a quarterback, like, that stuff's just gravy to me. It's not a key evaluator. Like, yeah, you want mobility is great, and being able to create outside the pocket is great. But more importantly, how are you completing the ball passes, taking care of the football, moving the offense down the field? That's more what I'm looking for. Absolutely.
Sure.
So I kind of want to go into this now. We're kind of alluding to next season, and I think it's a big year for Josh Allen. I think there are questions. I think it's a big year for the Bills, Aaron.
I think it's huge.
I think there's a lot of question marks that have been, and we've talked about this a couple of times on here. There are question marks floating around Buffalo right now.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed last year was everyone was on the Bills.
Yeah.
Everyone was on
Vegas, ESPN.
Right. And, they make the splash move with bringing in a guy like Von Bell on defense, which is great. He's
Von Miller.
I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you. Von Miller. And he really did look great. And obviously he got injured and he's getting up there in age, and you just can't rely on a guy like that. It just kind of felt like after the year prior to that, where they lost to the Chiefs in overtime, and we talked ad nauseum about that. And obviously some playoff rules that have changed since then is what it is. I don't know. I felt like the last year was the Bills' year, and I'm not saying that they can't come out this year and get into the conference championship or even the Super Bowl or even win it. But there's certainly nothing that they did this offseason that makes me feel better about where they were last year.
Yeah.
I think Josh Allen continues to take his hits. He's commented about it saying, I know I can't keep running like this if I want to have a long NFL career. And there was something about that ability out of him that made their offense a little bit more dangerous. They never really committed to a singular type running back that they can kind of pound the ball through. They spread the ball out. They got Cook. I think I know they don't have Singletary anymore. We saw, obviously Nyheim Hines going down this out for the year now.
Yeah.
There's this weird drama that no one's really explained to me with Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
Who's now tweeting out stuff like all it is all I want to win. It's like, all right, I don't like the vibes I'm getting out of Buffalo. And that's such a cop-out answer of not really answering the question. I'm like,
no, but I think anybody that's been paying attention understands exactly what you're talking about.
Right. Though. Right. I wouldn't be surprised if they win that division, have home field in the first round, win a couple playoff games. I won't be surprised about that. It was the way in which Cincinnati came into town last year in the snow, which is like why Buffalo is like, can't build a dome, we gotta have the snow. And then they just got their dicks kicked in. I don't feel good about them.
Yeah. I think until, I think I'm still going to have question marks until, we get into probably like week 5 or 6. And depending on what I've seen throughout, the first quarter or so of the season, I think that'll be when my questions are really answered, or at least start to be, right?
Are you picking them to win the East?
That's a tough ask, man. I mean, I know the Jets are a sexy pick right now, but I don't think they're done. based on the recent news this week of.
There's still the Dolphins. The Dolphins are a good team, and
Dolphins are a good team. I don't.
And we're saying the Patriots are the worst, which never feels good.
Yeah, I have concerns for the Dolphins and the Patriots in terms of quarterback play. I'm not entirely convinced that Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers yet. You know what I mean? I don't know what Aaron Rodgers we're going to be getting. That said, I expect Garrett Wilson to take a step this year. I think that'll help Alan Lazard. I think that will help Corey Davis.
Randall Cobb.
Randall Cobb. Breece Hall.
Who's that? They had a tight end too. Who was the guy? Was he like Conklin or something?
Yeah, I believe so.
Pretty good.
I think that makes sense. Yeah, Breece Hall will be coming back at some point. That defense played amazing.
Yeah, Tyler Conklin.
But all that being said, one thing that we are not acknowledging is that Bills defense will have Von Miller back this year, and he will be healthy. So that
for how long?
Yeah, I mean, sure, but
he's had injury concerns prior. He is an absolute wrecking ball when he's out there.
He is, and that's a huge. I think it's like T.J. Watt. It's like when he's on the field, it's completely different defense, right?
Right.
The same is said, obviously, with TJ. I think I got the Bills winning that division right now. I think it just makes the most sense to me. The only other one that I think could do it is the Jets. I don't believe in the Dolphins right now. I don't.
Now, if I were to give you the chance to bet on the Bills versus the field,
what's the juice?
You'd be getting plus odds on the Bills. Let's call it
okay.
Plus 165.
I think I'd take the field at that point. So who finished in last in that division? The Jets finished last in that division.
Mm-hmm.
Every year there's one team, right? Every year there's one team since like what?
That goes from worst to first?
2002 or something like that. The last 20 years, there's been a team that goes worst to first.
Sure.
And that very well could be the Jets this season.
Let's go, Browns. I'm just kidding.
Dude, I'm just so fucking pissed. Back to the Burrow thing, man. I want him to have a complete offseason. I want him to have it. And it probably
I never even put that together. Like, I forgot about the appendix thing last year completely.
Like this time last year, he was in a hospital bed.
Right. I completely forgot about I didn't forget about the pandemic, but just not thinking about that for him being his rookie. Like, you're right. He's never had a normal, quote unquote, normal offseason. Even prior to that, I guess he would have had one in LSU, but like year before that, transfer year. Like, it's not like, the guy has some fun summers, I guess. That's just.
It wouldn't be fair to the rest of the league if he had a regular offseason, I think is what it's boiled down to.
Yeah, obviously, that's what it is. So I was just curious because you had mentioned it, the worst to first. So I kind of want to read those off real quick, if you don't mind.
Who were the worst in the
I'm going to read you off the
and I'll just give you a quick, not a fucking chance, and
I exactly, and then I want to know which one you think is the best chance of happening. Okay, so we got the Jets, the Browns, the Texans, the Broncos, the Commanders, the Bears, the Falcons, and the Cardinals.
Okay, Cardinals, not a chance.
Nope.
I'm gonna say
Falcons. I'm listening.
I was gonna get there. Commanders, not a chance. The Texans, not a chance.
You could
Bears.
Bears.
I'm listening. Bears. I'm listening. I'm listening. Yeah, for sure. I'm listening for sure. I think Justin Fields takes a step this year.
I bet him to win MVP a long time ago.
Yeah, I don't like that bet, but
it's plus 3,000.
You bought a lottery ticket.
Right.
A scratch off, right?
I think of the year Lamar won MVP.
Sure. Totally could see that happening at this point, right? Browns, like, it's not so much necessarily the Browns. It's just like, I think the Bengals are a bit above everybody else in that division right now. But I also think the other three are so close that that's a tough bet to make. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Yeah.
The other three, like the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Browns, I think are all really close to each other in terms of ability.
If every single one of those teams went 3-3 in the division, I wouldn't be surprised.
I honestly would not be surprised if every single team in that division has a winning record.
That was going to be, and I knew we were going to eventually have an episode doing this, but it would be so much easier if we didn't add the extra game, because I would say 500 and above.
Yeah, sure.
But now that you can't, I mean, obviously, here's the thing. They did it last year where every team won 7 games or more. But I agree with you, man. I really think, I mean, we see this every year, but the AFC North is always going to have 2 teams that are barking at it. Yeah,
100%, and potentially 3 teams up until the last week of the season that are, either in the playoffs or,
3 is not rare, my friend.
Not eliminated.
Yeah. Oh, I think we're going to see all 4 of those teams have a path
in the hunt,
for the last 4 weeks.
Dude, I just got goosebumps. I'm just like going to, like in Happy Gilmore, and it's like and he's like thinking of his happy place.
Yeah.
She's pouring the beer on herself. I just went to that, and I'm just like, it's dark outside at like 7 p.m. and I've already put down like 9 beers.
I don't need that part, or the dark part.
No, but I'm putting myself in that spot.
Got it.
Right.
Got it.
This is what I'm seeing right now.
Are you smelling? Is that chili I smell?
It's actually chili that is already. It's sitting on the coffee table, because I've already put down 3 bowls, Aaron.
Right, of course.
It's sitting there, and I'm just too fat and lazy to take it to the sink at this point.
And now you've given up on the chili, and you're just putting shredded cheese in your mouth.
Just like, let me see what this.
I think there's still some chili around my mouth. We can just
dip this cheese in the sour cream.
Oh, is that a little tortilla trip needs to go for a dip
and a jalapeno?
No man left behind.
So I'm there. It's dark, and you hear the bells ringing, and up on the screen you hear Chris Collinsworth commenting on different teams' path to the playoffs, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful place. Tomorrow when I play my league match for golf, that's where I'm going to go when I need to make a big putt. That's the place I'm going to go to. So
I love it.
Back to if I had to pick right now, the Saints are winning the NFC South, right? That's my pick to win the NFC South.
Okay.
Best quarterback.
But the best quarterback is Derek Carr.
Yeah, but that's like, he's middle of the road, right? I'm okay with Derek. Like, Derek Carr is Andy Dalton. He is Kirk Cousins. He is Ryan Tannehill. They're the same person.
Let's keep in mind, not a single team in that division last year had a winning record.
I think that could happen again.
I'm just saying, just from a pure statistical standpoint, I think the Falcons have the easiest path.
Sure. The Saints are the best team in that division, though.
Yeah, but it's not like it's
they're the best team. No, but they are the best team in that division, I think, on paper, and that's all I have to go on right now. So that's my early pick to win that division. But to your point, Aaron, I think the Falcons absolutely can win that division. Yeah, absolutely can win that division. We got Bijan.
Yeah,
Kyle Pitts, year 3. How long does
someone throws to him?
How long does it typically take for tight ends to develop, though?
Tight ends do not come in and play right away.
They don't.
They don't. No, you're right. Year 3 could be it. And let's not forget about our boy Drake London.
Let's not forget about our boy Drake London. I think he had a really good rookie season, all things considered.
Yeah.
With everything going around on that team, with Mariota and then switching to a rookie quarterback midway through the season. Yeah, man, I think the Falcons absolutely could be there. So
how high are you on Bijan this year?
In terms of fantasy, or
Sure, let's go fantasy because I feel like that's easy, more consumable.
I mean, he's absolutely the first rookie running back taken. He's
Well,
the first.
yeah,
I think he's the first
good-
rookie taken.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the first rookie taken.
Typically, a running back would be.
Yeah.
Typically.
Yeah. I think it's Bijan, then Gibbs, I think, are the 1-2 rookies taken this year.
Yeah.
How high am I on him? Like,
I'm here to tell you guys take him.
Yeah, sure. When though, Aaron? Like, what's your over under on pick?
5.5.
Really?
Yeah.
Nah, I think you can get him. I think you can get him way deeper in the draft than 5.5.
He's going in the first round.
I think you can get him probably. I think you can get him probably about 9.5.
I'm saying where I would take him.
Yeah,
if I pick 6, I would probably take him. So here's the thing: rookie running backs, no tread on those tires, or all tread on those tires. Excuse me.
Who's the first running back taken last year in the draft?
Jonathan Taylor.
No, I'm sorry. Who's the first rookie drafted last year?
I don't know, but they're also who was the last first rounder.
What I'm saying is look at the 2 rookies that were most successful last year in terms of running back from a fantasy perspective. Kenneth Walker III, and then well,
I know he got injured, but like when he
first started, yeah.
Dameon Pierce
and Dameon Pierce. Those were the top. Those guys aren't even top 5 running backs in fantasy.
Yeah, but those guys also weren't drafted in the first round. So look about Saquon Barkley. How was he his rookie year?
Sure.
Top 3. Ezekiel Elliott, fucking phenomenal.
Sure.
Like rookies who are taken in the first round.
Kenneth Walker wasn't drafted in the first round?
No. I think the last running back to be taken in the first round was Najee Harris, and even though he was averaging under 4 a carry, he was still a worthwhile.
He's a good fantasy back.
Yeah,
I don't think he was top 5 though his rookie season though. That's my point. It's like
but I guess my point is they have such a higher floor because I don't see the same injury concern with taking a guy like Bijan as I do even like Derrick Henry, who is now. You know what I mean?
He has some serious injury concerns from my perspective. He's very old running back. I think.
So I like the young buck.
Yeah,
with the skill set.
I'm just trying to think about like, all right,
there is a track.
So I'm just looking at the draft and how it's going to go. So CMC or J Jets 1-2. Put them with
J Jets. Everyone take J Jets.
Put them whatever order you want them in. Whatever. They're going 1-2. That's
sure.
Jamar Chase is probably 3. Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase 3 and 4, probably somewhere. Tyreek Hill is probably in there too. So that's probably your top 5 in whatever order makes you comfortable. That's probably roughly your top 5. Let's say I have the 6th pick. I think I'm taking Travis Kelce.
Yeah. I might even say Kelce can go in the top 5.
Okay. So my point is that's pushing Bijan even further back.
Sure. I mean, again, but you asked an over under. Like at 6, I'm considering it.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that. I'm trying to think about who else kind of.
Because here's the thing, I would probably take. I know I mentioned Tyreek, but I would take Bijan over Tyreek.
Saquon.
No, I'm taking Bijan over Saquon.
Okay. I'm just trying to think about fantasy running backs right now. Nick Chubb.
Taking Bijan, but I think Chubb is going to be undervalued like he is every year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's no Hunt this year. They've talked about putting him in the passing game a little bit more.
Sure.
And again, when I'm drafting running back, I want high floor.
And that's the thing. That's my quandary here is I don't know what his is. I don't know what his floor is because I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I'm more so basing this on the production we've gotten out of first round rookie running backs in fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, even a guy like Jamar Chase, who was the 3rd pick in the draft,
5th overall,
fifth overall pick, he was getting taken in like the 3rd round.
Yeah,
because you just don't know. You just don't know.
He drops the ball, Aaron.
Oh, he drops the ball.
Remember that fucking narrative?
Yeah, I was shouting it because I was just trying to speak it into existence.
What a goofy fucking narrative.
Was it though?
Yeah. I mean, he hadn't
played in a year.
He had the 2nd greatest rookie season of all time. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. But We all watched him drop the ball.
Yeah, but come on. Are we really doing this?
I'm saying what I am saying
his first
is
game he had like 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. First game.
right. No. I get all of that. What I'm saying is, you asked me, can you believe that? Like, yeah, I can believe that. This is how we consume sports.
Yeah. Okay. So
Like in the moment, like in that
saying
moment,
I'm looking at
looking back. Yeah, of course it's ridiculous.
Yes, that's where I'm.
Yeah.
With the gift of hindsight, looking back, it's like, look how stupid people are.
Captain Hindsight.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. I just looking back at some of the things that, the narratives that were pushed. It's just like, what the fuck are we doing here, guys? What are we doing? Anyway. Yeah. No, that's an interesting. I didn't know you were so high on him. So that's the thing, though, is like fruitful running backs. Like, I don't think the Falcons win that division because of Bijan Robinson. Let me put it very clear.
I'm not saying that at all.
They win it because Desmond Ridder takes a step.
Yeah.
That's how that happens. That's the only way, in my opinion, that really happens.
Gun to my head, I'm with you. I'm probably taking the Saints. I'll be honest. There's a world I can see the Panthers winning this division. I really can. It's that much of a crapshoot, and we're talking about storylines, for this year, and that's certainly one of them for me. Is Bryce Young?
Can he beat out Andy Dalton?
We went from last year. Yeah, of course he can. We went from last year where it was Kenny Pickett fell to like the 20th pick or something, the 21st pick or something like that, and we don't typically get that in the draft. People are really excited to take quarterbacks. So last year really was very weird because at least there's one guy, and even Pickett didn't start playing until week 6 or so, and he was, in my opinion, average at best.
He got better.
He got better. He showed some things. If I'm a fan of the Steelers, I am not dissuaded by any means. But as an outsider, there's nothing about him that scares me, if that makes sense.
Not yet.
Like I think both groups can be right there for where we are right now.
Yeah.
But it's odd to me that we didn't really have. You see it every year. Going back to, I almost feel like going back to like the Andrew Luck draft, where it's like every year there's always some quarterback to be excited about. Anything sticking out to you in terms of storylines or things that you're really excited about as we do kind of march a little bit closer? I can smell it, Corey. Can you smell that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's football.
Oh yeah. I'm in my basement, so I just smelled my cat's litter box. But yeah, I mean, it's football, dude. It's football. No, I think couple of things.
This is my lair where I watch all my games.
Can Geno Smith continue to be
interesting?
The guy that didn't write back.
Okay.
Can that continue, or are the Seahawks pushing themselves further into QB purgatory? Right. But at the same time, I believe they've got the Broncos' first round pick next year. So that's the other storyline that I'm really interested in is, can the Broncos cash in on this investment? Can Russell Wilson stop being a robot and start being a human being again that plays football?
Right.
Those are a couple of things that I'm really interested in. Can Baker Mayfield revitalize his career in Tampa Bay?
Yeah, I already bet the under on the Buccaneers.
Can that happen?
So hard.
I mean, he's got a really good. Let me ask you this.
What, he's got a really good receiving core, like he had Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry.
Is it the same or better?
Is
what I was saying. Is it the same or better with Chris Godwin, Mike Evans?
It's the same, and I feel so bad for Mike Evans, who's not going to get to 1,000 yards.
I don't know if I believe that.
I do.
I don't know if I believe that.
Even Baker at his best, and this isn't a knock against him, the one thing that made him I wouldn't say unique, but a little bit frisky was he spreads the ball around.
Sure.
Like even on a good day, it was like Jarvis Landry, 4 catches, 72 yards.
But like Mike Evans is like the quiet 1,000-yard receiver.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
You like don't pay attention to him, and then you look over, you're like, holy fuck, Mike Evans has 1,300 yards this year. Like that's kind of his.
Yeah, but he's been close the last couple years.
He's what, 7 straight years of 1,000?
His entire career.
I think 7 or 8. I believe he's at now.
Let's see. Yes, but so
which is it?
2020, 1,006.
Hell yeah.
2021, 1,035.
Let's go, Mike.
2022, 1,124. So, also we're missing 2017, 1,001. Let's go.
Yes.
So my point is he's already been close, and some of that's with Tom Brady. And I don't know if you know this, Corey, but I'd take Tom Brady over Baker.
Well, Aaron, that's an interesting thought.
I know I'm sounding sour grapes, but I think it's more so I've seen it, and I can't tell you. So the Panthers Browns was the first game of the year last year. I audibly laughed the hardest I've ever possibly laughed when the first play of the game, Baker Mayfield's ball got batted down at the line.
Like, oh, I've seen that one.
I've seen it. It's like the Back to the Future. It's like, I've seen this one.
Yeah. Or it's Leonardo DiCaprio on the couch going.
Exactly.
Yeah, that one.
So again, I don't wish him bad, but I feel like I know who he is.
Yeah. Rob, thanks for liking the stream, man.
He'd be the perfect backup.
Shout out to everybody that's joining in on YouTube and on Facebook. And if you're doing that, if you're just coming into the stream like Rob is right now, Rob, thanks for joining us, buddy. You can catch us on Spotify and listen to the whole podcast on Spotify. So head on over there, make sure you're following us. Or if you're listening to us on Spotify, you can watch the video on YouTube as well.
You can watch Corey roll his eyes at me when I propose decent questions.
Rob, just got home from work. Sorry I'm late. Rob, you're not late, Rob. Buddy. You're just in time. You
did miss us talking about how we think the Bears.
Well, let's dive into that.
Yeah, so Rob, what you missed here was we went through all of the last place teams, and Corey had brought up the stat of how many. Just what were the last many? Like
it's like the last 20 years or something.
There's
like that.
Always been a team that has gone from worst to first in their division. So we decided to go through and read all of the last place teams, and one of the ones that intrigued us the most was the Bears. A lot of that has to do with Rodgers leaving the division.
Absolutely.
And that's also a little bit of a storyline for me too, is what do we expect with the Packers and Jordan Love at the helm?
I don't expect a lot. I expect not making the playoffs.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, I think that's kind of where they're at right now. Honestly, sure. I have no reason to think otherwise, right? It's like,
I mean, they missed the playoffs last year with Rodgers, so
well, like I just feel like if he was really that good, they wouldn't have re-signed Rodgers in the first place. You know what I mean? If they felt like, oh, we can hand this franchise to this guy, they're doing it by default. That's
yeah, but they did the same thing with Favre. They're just weird.
Yeah, but not. I mean,
they let him leave, retire twice, and they're like, "Oh, you're fine."
That's fair. That's a fair point. I don't know, man.
Where did you go? New York.
New York. And wouldn't that be the craziest fucking thing in the world? Is if Aaron Rodgers came back to the Minnesota Vikings?
Right.
when Kirk Cousins doesn't get re-signed again, or they trade Kirk Cousins to fucking Las Vegas. Right. What a weird combination that'd be, by the way. Just a fish out of water there. And then inevitably Aaron Rodgers goes to Minnesota because he wants.
Yeah, I think they have those in Vegas. Just fish out of water.
Fish out of water. Yeah.
Go see it. It's a Cirque du Soleil thing.
It's at the Mirage.
Yeah.
No, I think that I don't expect a lot of the Pack. Like, if you told me right now, hey, the Packers finished last in the NFC North, I'm like, yeah, I see that path. I see that path because the Vikings, no matter how lucky they were, and that's literally the only word that I think best describes the Vikings season last year, in that they had a negative point differential, yet at one point when they were at like a 12-win team and they had a negative point differential, It was the only team in NFL history to ever do that, were the Minnesota Vikings of 2022. And you look at that historic comeback against the Colts. They had, a couple.
Man, I forgot about that, dude. There's so many storylines I've seen in the last week about last year where I was like, dude, I forgot about that.
That was fucking nuts, man.
There was a lot of weird shit last year.
That was crazy. So the Vikings, historically, literally speaking, they are statistically the luckiest team ever in NFL history. So I still think that where there's smoke, there's fire, and the Vikings have the ability. They have the best wide receiver in the NFL. I don't think they're taking a huge step back in the running back room. I think they got better at tight end by getting T.J. Hawkinson last year. Kirk Cousins is above average. That's the only accolade I'm really willing to give him at this point. That's where I'm at. They have a lot of problems on defense that they have to prove have been fixed before I will say that they are.
Yeah.
And that's really the dynamic right now. So you've got the Vikings there, defending division champs. You've got the Lions, the sexiest team in the NFC, apparently, that haven't really done anything yet.
Sexiest in the sense of like obviously like the Eagles are the sex. You know what I get.
They're the flavor of the week right now. In that they went on a great run to end the season and yet still missed the playoffs.
Yep, I agree.
And we've got a lot of Lions fans that are
America's team. America's darling.
Sure. And we've got a lot of Lions fans that are part of the Rally Towel Sports family. We love them. We love Rachel and all of that. And we root for the Lions on a regular basis. They are us, right? They are small market teams. That is
Rally Towel. Don't root
Sports.
Against them.
Unless we're playing them, which only happens once every 4 years.
Or somehow have a playoff implication on the line for it. Or
Sure. Exactly. Sure. That's the only way that's happening. We want them to win as many games. Right. So we want them to win as many games as possible. But at the same time, like Jared Goff played one of his best career years last year.
Dude, we talked about it. Is he the second best quarterback in the NFC?
Yeah, I think so. Like it's him or Derek Carr.
Yeah, or
Kirk Cousins
or Prescott.
Yeah, and the fact that we're just like, we're like,
and I'm like, I can't believe that vinegar just came out of my mouth.
Yeah, exactly. And
it's obviously Hurts. We'll all say it's Hurts.
Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Bobby jumping in the chat with a "What up, boys? What up, Bobby?"
Bob?
We appreciate you, buddy.
Before we move off of it, I think the go ahead.
No, I just want to finish up this NFC North conversation. So they're the Lions, right? A lot of question marks around the Lions still because they haven't done it yet, right? Bob, thanks for sharing the stream, big dog. And then you've got the Bears. The Bears are a team that have done a lot in the offseason in terms of free agency. They made a really good trade to add more weapons around Justin Fields. They just extended Cole Kmet. I think Cole Kmet takes a step this year. He's kind of right in that pocket to where you start to see tight ends come on. I think he proved it towards the end of last year. Kyle Pitts is another guy that we already talked about is kind of being able to take that step. There's another tight end, Aaron, while I'm on the topic, Okonkwo with the Tennessee Titans, another tight end that I'm looking to take another.
Conklin a little earlier too.
Conklin as well
with the Jets, I think is interesting.
So the Bears are and Justin Fields proved that he's an NFL quarterback last year, and I'm willing to say that he's the best Ohio State quarterback to ever play in the NFL.
So here's the thing. It's interesting that you say that because we were talking about at the beginning of the show, like how Justin Herbert is like that prototypical type quarterback I'm looking at. Justin Fields has not proven that to me. He's proven that he can be the best quarterback in the NFC in the same way that like Jalen Hurts is. You know what I mean? Where it's like there's just this different dynamic to him. Like I don't think Jalen Hurts, he's undersized. You know, he's not a prototypical quarterback. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying you can't win like that, and I don't really want that to be disguised as a knock against them. But when you're saying like, oh, he's the best, Ohio State quarterback, it's probably true because for whatever reason, Ohio State just hasn't been able to produce a damn at quarterback. I will die on the hill that Troy Smith actually was starting to figure it out and then got a staph infection and then Joe Flacco took over. But Go back, go check some tape on my boy Troy. He's just too small. It's never gonna happen. But he could have been like a Tyrod Taylor. Anyways,
Troy Smith was too small.
Troy Smith was like 5'11", dude.
Wasn't he like fucking brick shit house, or were those just the shoulder
Cardell Jones?
No, Troy Smith, Heisman Trophy winning.
Yeah. Troy Smith was like at best 6 feet tall.
I feel like this dude was like 220 pounds, like
6 foot even, 217.
Yeah, like he's not that like Troy Smith was
short, but for a quarterback, it's about
6
seeing
foot?
over the line.
It's not that bad.
6 foot?
It's not that bad.
You think I can drop back there? I'm pushing those numbers.
I think there's a couple other things that go along with what Troy Smith
the list cut out right there, dude. I couldn't see below that. But anyways, just before we move off the NFC North, the only thing other I wanted to mention is if I could make a similar like Kentucky Derby style bet of like win, place, show, I think the NFC North is the division I would want to least touch.
Unless you can box it.
I'm saying I have no idea 1 to 4. Like I don't even have a fucking clue.
Yeah.
Take some dice, throw them against the wall, and I wouldn't be as surprised.
Let's see. What's the other? Like I think
the South, NFC South too, but for the worst reasons.
Yeah. I think the AFC East kind of comes into play a little bit there.
Not really.
Really?
The AFC East. I'm sorry. I was thinking AFC South. I'm sorry.
No, AFC East kind of falls into that category as a team. Like if you told me that the Dolphins ended up winning, I'm like, okay. However, I think they, they're third. If I had to predict right now, it would go Bills, Jets, Dolphins, Pats would be the way that I would play it out. But yeah, man, I'm with you right there. The NFC North is up for grabs. I think it's.
And Rob's got some awesome comments here. If you want to.
Yeah, let's pull these up right here. It says, interesting fact, Cole Kmet's little cousin works for me. That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty sweet. So try and score some Bears tickets, maybe. That's the same comment I just put up there.
Still interesting, though.
Still interesting. Doesn't change. And Robert Tanyan went to the local high school in the town I live in. So now we have 2 hometown tight ends on the Bears. Huh.
Did Tanyan sign with the Bears?
Apparently so.
I didn't realize
that was who's the GM? Pace is the GM now, I believe, of the Bears.
Sure, yeah.
The old Big Ten commissioner, I believe, is the GM of the Chicago Bears. If I'm not mistaken, Rob, I'm sure you can correct me on that. But Ryan Pace, does that sound right?
Maybe. I
know he and I can't recall the name of the head coach that the Bears just got. But I had heard an interview from him, and they had asked, and said, they're like, looks like you're signing a lot of these hometown boys. Is that intentional? He's like, absolutely. Yeah, it absolutely is intentional. I want Chicago-born players playing for the Bears because it means more to them.
Yeah.
I think there is a little bit of that. However, like it wouldn't, like if I had the opportunity to sign like player A and player B, and player A was a little bit better, but player B was from Chicago, I would still go player A.
Yeah, I think it's a lot easier when you're playing like my player on Madden and you're like, I'm coming home to the Browns, as opposed to being like, we'll give you $15 million more. And you're like, yep, I'll see you in Minnesota.
Yeah. Rob corrected me. Pace was the last GM. Sorry, it's Ryan Poles. Ryan Poles, who I do believe was the old Big Ten commissioner, if I'm not mistaken. Rob coming in with a question here in the chat. He's saying, did Ramsey tear his ACL? Herbert grabbed his knee and was carted off the field today. Yes, Jalen Ramsey is getting knee surgery today or tomorrow or the next day, something like that. He is getting knee surgery here in the next couple of days. He is out till towards the end of the season. So he's not out for the season. Posted something on Twitter today saying that end of season comeback is going to be huge. Or that end of season push is going to be huge or something to that extent. So knowing that he's out, looks like he's in good spirits. I'm sure he's bummed.
So like 6 to 8 weeks and maybe playoff, or he even Jalen tweeted something out like that playoff push is going to be insane or something.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Saying playoff push is going to be insane. So,
I was looking up the Big Ten commissioner, Kevin Warren.
Warren.
He was announced the CEO and president of the Bears. Bears.
Okay, that's what I knew. He was
Yep.
affiliated with the Bears in some way. Yeah. Okay, that's what it was. Yeah, that's it. So the Big Ten is based. Is it based in Chicago?
I wouldn't.
I
I would
it is.
imagine. Yeah, because like that's where. I mean, I know they have the NC or the NC
in Indy.
the basketball championships there. Oh, they do that in Indy. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they do it in Indy.
Football. They do.
Football is in Indy. Yeah,
and then I think the basketball in
Chicago. But Chicago just makes way more sense from a business standpoint. It just makes way more sense.
Right.
Yeah.
It's actually just outside of Rutgers.
So we got some more alignment shit that went down, actually, now that we're talking about college.
Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado. The Pac-12's fucked, man.
Crawling back. I knew she would.
I know you'd come back. Yeah, but now, like, Colorado's going in at a time where the Big 12 is, going to be at their worst. Losing their two big dogs in Texas and Oklahoma in 2024. They will be in the SEC.
Do you think that's intentional then? Because now that they have Dion, they think they're going to be.
Well, I think Colorado will be better. I think their recruiting is going to get better. Is Colorado going to compete for a Pac-12 championship this year? No. But I
next
think
year they'll be in the
Big 12. And I think, like, looking at the Big 12, yeah, you still got TCU, you still have Iowa State, you still have Oklahoma State. Like, those are, substantial programs that are going to have something to say about who wins the Big 12, but the path to success, Kansas State, sorry, I left out Kansas State, another big player, obviously. The path to success is infinitely easier without Oklahoma and Texas in there. Texas has their own fucking network, by God, you know what I mean? So they are the god of the Big 12, and then Oklahoma's shortly just behind them.
Sure.
Them moving to the SEC makes the path way easier. Obviously, USC, UCLA moving out of the Pac-12 makes things easier for folks in the Pac-12. But however, you still have Oregon, you still have Washington, you still have Utah. Those teams, specifically referring to Utah here, are consistently one of the best in that conference. So I think Utah is just sitting there licking their chops going like, all right, well, we're going to just run this division now for the next fucking decade.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know though. Are we on the verge of just heading to like two super conferences?
I mean, pretty much. I'm completely forgetting this. So wait, UCLA's out.
UCLA, not this year, but next year, UCLA and USC will be in the Big Ten.
Big Ten, right. I completely forgot about that.
Right? It's crazy.
What is going on?
It's absolutely insane.
All our pets' heads are falling off.
Harry, I took care of it. But
it's wild, man.
It was 100% for the TV market. That's exactly why Big Ten did it.
Yeah, I mean,
you get LA now.
I just hate that a conference is stretched from California to New York.
That's not that big of a deal, though. It's not.
It is to me.
Yeah, I know, because of the
purist,
the tradition. And now I don't get to see Ohio State and Penn State every year. Who cares? Fuck that. I want the Buckeyes in the Rose Bowl playing USC. That's what I want.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's better. Like, it is just better. And I think we're headed to a point where, like, how does the ACC hold on? How does the Pac-12 hold on? Even the Big 12, like, the addition of Colorado doesn't, like, get you your juices flowing. Like, this isn't like, well, Big 12's back. They got Colorado. Even if Nebraska came back, even if Iowa came back, none of it, like, does anything.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that we're going to expand the playoff. That's first and foremost. I think that's the first domino to fall where this is just going to turn into East and West.
Mm-hmm. Well,
because
or
you know what I mean, but like, yeah, like right. Like, I don't see any reason why, like, because if that's my point is if now California to New York can be a conference, why are we keeping with this old style tradition of let's just make it, the NBA or the NFL or whatever, where it's you got two sides and we'll meet in the middle. Or if you want to just do complete nothing and seed it from there, that's fine. You can even have your own version of the NIT if you really want everyone to, you want to keep all these bowl games, you know, because that's basically what that is. Like, nobody's tuning into the GoDaddy.com Tits Bowl unless you got the over
Tits.
or like, yeah, right. Like, but that's like, who gives a shit?
No, absolutely.
Tradition is now completely out the window.
Yeah, 100%. I think you can absolutely make sure that all the sponsors are able to do everything that they wanted to do, because all you do is turn these playoff games into these bowl games as they've already done. They've already done that. You know, with the college football playoff, you know, the Sugar Bowl is the semifinals game and the Orange Bowl is semifinals game. And then, you know, all right, well, the national championship this year is the Fiesta Bowl. So, yeah, you can absolutely, you know, round of 16, Gator Bowl, Cotton Bowl, Peach Bowl, you know, all of these things, they can still have their prestige. Right. I think they even mean more. And I think the sponsorships get even bigger when they're a playoff game. Like, people will actually, like, let's say we do a round of, like, let's say it expands out to 32 teams, right? Let's say that's the way it happens eventually. And if we get to that point where it's 32 teams, people are tuning into the Outback Bowl. A lot of people are going to watch the Outback Bowl. Similarly to the fact that a lot of people watched Purdue lose in the first round this year, in the NCAA tournament, right?
Right. Yeah.
And that makes Outback probably lose that sponsorship. To be honest with you, they probably lose that sponsorship, and it goes to somebody else that has a little bit more coin to throw to it. Have you been to an Outback lately, Aaron? It's Australian Applebee's. It's Australian Applebee's.
Yeah, of course. You can get Foster's.
Yeah, but it's fallen off, is my point.
Everything's fallen off, dude.
You know, Aaron, I used to pick Outback as my destination.
Really?
Like a birthday dinner. I want a birthday dinner. I'm going to Outback.
What would you get? What was your I mean, obviously blue onion for the table. So from there.
Pounding that bread hard.
Well, yeah, but again, that's for the table. You don't order brown bread.
When I was a kid, it was like I'm getting like steak bites and fries, dude, with a side CZ Sally. You know what I'm saying?
So I always said I went to my mom loved Outback, so we go to Outback. Great burger. And so
absolutely.
I came up with the theory: if you want a really good burger, go to somewhere that does a mediocre steak.
Pretty good. That's pretty good. So yeah, now you know I used to put on a collared shirt to go to Outback. It's like I'm gonna put on a polo. We're going out to Outback. This isn't Applebee's. This isn't fucking slacks on. This isn't TGI Fridays. All right. This is Outback Steakhouse. It says Steakhouse at the end. All right, we're gonna dress up a little bit here.
They give you the big knife.
I've got 4 of them upstairs.
I love how even like the butter knife, they're like, here's a machete.
Yeah. That's not a knife.
Yeah. Don't go towards the center of our country.
Oh my God. All right. Outback or Longhorn?
You know, I can't even tell you the last time I've been to a Longhorn, but ironically enough, I might be going tomorrow.
You should.
Because we're going to go see, I'm finally going to go see Oppenheimer.
Nice. What are the movie theaters? I haven't been to one in 5 years.
What do you mean? Oh yeah, this is the first one I've been to since.
Just since you have kids, dude. It's just.
Oh, ours was just COVID, but yeah. I don't think I've been to a movie theater since like Knives Out, the first one.
Oh, nice. That's a great movie.
We used to always do this thing, like tradition of like on New Year's Day, we would just, because we'd be so hungover. So it'd be like, you know, take a couple vitamins and and we'll just go sweat it out in the movie theater.
Nice. It's cold. It's dark.
Cold, yeah. So tomorrow, there's that 104 real field. Yeah, I'm like, we're doing this shit tomorrow because we were gonna go see Barbie at the drive-in because Mary really wants to see Barbie at the drive-in, and I'm like, that's cool. Tomorrow's gonna be 104 degrees. Let's do the air conditioning one and go see Oppenheimer.
Yeah,
but
Bobby coming in the chat did Oppen Barbie on Monday, so he did a double feature. Great job, Bob.
I'm excited to see both, to be honest, for way different reasons.
Yeah, one's gonna be really funny and just like ha ha ha, and the other one's just gonna be like, dude. Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you on that one.
But
to answer my question, it's Longhorn. Longhorn is the best of all the 3, Bobby. It's better than Texas Roadhouse as well.
I've wanted to have white people like dinner night for so long as like a joke. Like,
I'm sorry.
Dress. Okay. So
Yeah, you're gonna need
khaki
to explain
pants,
that one.
plaid like shirt.
Oh,
tucked in.
wristwatch.
I want the cell phone clip.
Oh, Aaron, yes. White tennis shoes,
So like go to the thrift store before
dude.
and go to like Longhorn, Applebee's,
Dude,
whatever. That doesn't matter.
don't put that on. They're not.
But
The
you
same.
know what I mean. You know
They're
what I
not
mean.
the same.
No.
It's a step
Well,
above.
but if it's Applebee's, I'm gonna get absolutely torn up on mudslides.
Dude, or I mean, me and my buddy, we used to go to Applebee's on like a Saturday at like 3:00 in the afternoon and just drink $2 32-ounce PBRs until they said, "Sir, you need to leave."
Sir, you're disrupting the soccer team.
happy birthday! And I just be in the background.
Like, whose birthday?
Let's get some fucking shots for what's your name? Jenny's 12. Let's take some fucking shots, dude. Let's go. And the dad's just like ready to kill me. Yeah, that was used to be my life.
Rob, I want you to know I own a couple fanny packs.
Yeah, we're talking to a couple fest boys over here. You know what I'm saying? We're like,
dude.
Bro, we're really cool.
Dude, fanny packs, so underrated. I don't care. I don't care what you think I look like. It's all right here.
We know.
All right here. So good.
Oh shit.
Ooh, Texas Roadhouse though. That's the bread capital of the world,
dude. And I'm not going to talk down to Texas Roadhouse because it's delicious. I could eat the butter with a spoon.
We're not gonna bread shame.
No, it's fantastic. That said, big step down for me. Due to the coddling of America, we can no longer eat the peanuts and throw the shells on the floor.
Yeah, my nephew has a severe peanut allergy where he has to like take an EpiPen everywhere. So
don't go to Texas Roadhouse.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, yeah. That's it. Like, don't complain about running back pay. You're a running back.
Great transition, dude.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
great.
Why are you complaining? Where are you at on this?
Man, I don't know that I've decided. Am I allowed to sit on the fence?
Sure, John
Kerry. I feel both. No, I feel really, really great topical reference. You want to go windsurfing? I am a big proponent of the market decides.
Me too.
The market decides. Yep. But at the same time, it's not a free market. Because if it was a free market, it would be like when Sam Bradford was quarterback and got the richest quarterback contract coming into the league, and you had to negotiate contracts upon rookies coming into the league. So what the collective bargaining agreement changed to was it's like changing the laws for people that are under 18 and can't vote anyway, where you're like, because what's the CBA going to do? Just be, or the Players Association, or they're just going to go, well, college players aren't really our clients, so that's fine. We'll give you the concession of the rookie contract deal. So now what you have is,
what does that have to do with Saquon though?
It has to do with the fact that he's been underpaid his entire career because he's on a rookie contract. Fair market would have given him more value out of college,
right?
And then by the time he's up or due for his contract, they're like, well, we've used all of the good life out of you. Sorry, you got wear and tear on you. We'll see you later.
That's what they're doing right now, though.
So that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm on the fence here, because I agree. I am let the free market decide, but it's not a free market when they come where their pay is dependent on where they're drafted, and they're stuck there and they can't negotiate it.
So basically, what you're saying is for running backs, there's a max salary that you can be signed to coming out of college.
Every player there is, but it seems to matter more.
But they negotiate them. They negotiate the contracts.
No,
Anthony Richardson just negotiated his contract.
The only thing that's negotiable is the guaranteed money.
Okay.
So where you're drafted, your salary is decided.
Okay.
That's the rookie pay scale. And it's controlled for at least 4 years. Now take a guy who's drafted in the first round, and the team gets an extra year of control to run you through the wall, plus 2 tag years, should they so choose.
Yeah, and I mean, here's where it boils down to for me is like, then don't play.
Sure, I hear you, but
Let me also be clear. Like, I think every player should get whatever they can. And I think, like, if Saquon doesn't want to suit up because he doesn't feel like the contract that he's getting makes sense for him, then he shouldn't play. He shouldn't do that. If he doesn't feel like he's being appropriately valued, then he shouldn't sign a contract. He shouldn't do it.
Right.
That at the end, because what will happen is he'll sit on the bench, he'll stay healthy, he'll get rested up, he'll either get cut or traded. Something will happen, right?
But the problem is if he doesn't play while he's under contract, it just tolls. He's not getting out of that contract.
He's not
until he plays, because a year is now not vested.
Well, he's if he's on the active roster, I believe he can.
If he just doesn't show up, he just gets
doesn't
fined.
Get game checks.
Yeah, but he just gets fined, and it doesn't count as a year towards his contract.
Then that part I don't agree with. Okay. I don't agree with that. I agree with him being able to sit out, not collect game checks, and get his guaranteed money.
Sure.
That's how that should go, because if there's an issue with the contract, then that should be settled. And then I do think it should be a free market in the sense that the market will dictate what Saquon's worth. If the Giants aren't willing to pay him, and we're just obviously Saquon's come to a deal. We're just using this as the example because he's the best running back in this conversation right now. It's not even close. Mm-hmm. He's better than Josh Jacobs. Let's just. You're
saying of the guys available.
Yeah, well, he's not available anymore. He just signed an extension.
Well, right, but that were in. Well, he really never was because they tagged him.
Right, but he didn't sign it. Right, so it wasn't in effect.
Right, but the Giants placing the tag on him meant he can't play with any other team but the Giants that year.
Right. So I don't know. I feel like at some point it's like you're in that position. That's what this position got you to that. Got you to this point. Like it'd be like if a catcher bitched about how much a pitcher was like. Look at what the pitchers are being paid, and look at what I'm being paid. You're not as valuable.
I think part of it is it's macro versus micro. So, and what I mean by that is you're gonna start to see players that are uniquely talented at a younger age refuse to play the running back position. What you're seeing is a guy like Saquon Barkley, who since the age of 8 years old was the most talented player on the field in any tri-state area.
Yeah.
And they went, great. This is what we're going to do for you. We're going to give you the ball. You're going to be the focus of the offense. You're going to be what we do. And it's the wear, and it's the wear, and it's the wear, and it's the tear. So I just think when Saquon Barkley was 8 years old, tutting the rock, we had, Emmitt Smith. You had my point being, you had running back was you even still had like going back to like Trent Richardson going 3rd overall. Saquon Barkley went 2, guys. Yeah. Like it's like Enron stock. It was going up and up and up and up, and then it fell off a fucking cliff, and no one expected it to go like this. So it's almost like this. I'm using the word crisis very lightly here because I don't have as much sympathy for these guys, but I also get it from their perspective you put everything relative to their surroundings.
I do.
And Najee Harris actually put it pretty well.
What did he say?
Like he said, it's always, we're going to put you on the line at the end of the game. We need you to tut the rock at the end of the game to close this game out, to win it for your team. And then when it comes to them being, rewarded for that, it's, well, sorry, you're too banged up.
Yeah.
So what you're going to see, and I asked you guys this question, and I, my power went out last week, and I was in the chat, and I asked you guys the question: if you were playing, would you rather be a 3rd string cornerback, not starting, maybe the slot, but maybe just backup? I'd rather be a backup cornerback than a starting running back.
I would,
from a longevity and payment standpoint. And let's face it, all these guys are playing NFL football not for the love of the game like we think they are, because we're on our couch like, let's go Browns, dude. They're there to make generational money for their families. That's what they're there for.
I think some of them are both.
Yes, I agree. But the money, I think money is the straw that stirs the drink for most of these people. You're right.
You have in order to get kicked in the teeth and do all the work that it takes to get to that point, though, you do have to love the game. Like you do.
Yes. Oh, 100%. 100%.
You know.
But I also think you get what my point is by saying that.
Yeah, but the thing I just struggle with is like there are other positions to where like that is also true. Like offensive linemen get hurt every year.
Mm-hmm.
Every year. And come on, O-line, you're the foundation of our offense. You're the foundation of our there could be offensive linemen saying the same thing that Najee Harris said, just in a different light and context of what an offensive lineman provides for the team. But then when it comes to the contract, you're pretty banged up. You know what I mean?
But what's more important to the GM? The 5 guys that are protecting the most important contract on your roster, or
the most replaceable player on the offense?
Right.
Yeah,
I get your point.
Well, that's the thing is like, yeah, Saquon is a unicorn in his position and should probably be the second in my opinion. He should be the second highest paid. Like if we were looking at like talent and like production on the field, it's CMC and then Saquon for me. Like those are the 1-2.
I take Chubb myself, but I get you.
Okay, sure. Even 1, 2, 3. It doesn't matter, but I think Saquon's a better pass catcher. But whatever. Anyway, outside of them, pretty much every running back's production can be replaced.
Yes, 100% can.
Yeah.
So what you're going to start seeing is a guy like Saquon Barkley from a younger age. Take whatever the aggregate is. Saquon Barkley Jr., who's an 8th grader right now. They're not going to play running back. And if that's the way that the NFL is going to go, that's the way the NFL is going to go. But you can also look at this from look at this from the NBA perspective. Like we devalued centers to such a point now that you see who are the last 3 MVPs been? Jokic, Embiid, and Giannis. And I know Giannis isn't a center, but for how the NBA is played now, he's a big man. So I'm just saying, are we just in this cyclical motion right now where it's like, okay, now we've undervalued them so much that there's going to actually be value on the horizon because nobody that's good is playing this position anymore?
I think what's happening is we have reached a point in the NFL to where the gap of quarterbacks from upper tier 1 quarterbacks to even middle of the road is so vast right now to where teams are throwing insane amount of money at quarterbacks that are even just relatively close to being good enough. Like Kyler Murray had no business making the amount of money that he got. Russell Wilson's corpse did not deserve that new contract. I get why they did it. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, you're fine. I'm just not
from a production standpoint. Russell Wilson is not deserving of that contract based on his production. Derek Carr, same thing. Kirk Cousins, same thing. Ryan Tannehill, same thing. We keep going down the list of all these quarterbacks that got fucking paid to where it doesn't line up because the quarterback is the most valuable position and maybe in all of sports. Yes, in all of sports, the quarterback is the most valuable position in all of sports, I would say. And having someone that is at least serviceable, if not above average or just slightly above serviceable, is so vital to the success of your team that teams are going to be throwing so much money at it to where they're looking at what can we do to make sure that we are staying cash solvent in order to fund that and keep talent coming in? What are the positions that I can go get a middle tier guy for cheap on a 1-year deal, 2-year deal, and throw him in there? And I think there are 2 positions on the offense, at least, that makes a lot of sense, or draft. But the 2 positions I think you can go just sign a cheap guy off waivers or something, or pick somebody up or draft him, running back and tight end, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
That's fair.
And Aaron, honestly, the next
Even
one,
tight end gets paid a good amount.
The next one, in my opinion, that I think we're going to start seeing free agent signings come down is probably going to be wide receiver.
No,
I disagree. So listen, here's my point.
I think there's been go ahead.
Front offices are going to prioritize re-signing their own. It's going to happen. I mean, that
maybe. I mean, we just saw Adams, Tyreek Hill, Hopkins,
third contract,
AJ Brown,
third contract for Hopkins.
Okay, that was the only one.
Those are 2.
So Tyreek, Devontae, AJ Brown. I mean, there's DJ Moore. It's.
I have never been one to look at trading for a wide receiver or signing a premier wide receiver in free agency as a wise financial decision from a front office standpoint. I don't think it's a good idea. It's not. I think it really handcuffs you because you're going to overpay for what you're going to get, and you do it every time.
So I love this because it makes for good podcasting. I completely and 100% disagree with that entirely.
Yeah. I do not
because of the way no that part of it is fine. But the idea that we're going to see the market for elite wide receivers go down.
I don't know if I necessarily mean elite. I'm more elite.
Talking. What did Christian Kirk get?
That's what I mean. I think
that's not an elite.
I think that shit stops. I think that shit is going to. I think we're going to see a bubble pop on shit like that. That's
every team that's like on the bubble wants to trade for Brandon Cooks or Robert Woods every year. Not anymore, but that type of player.
I think we see those major contracts stop. I think I think like you're going to recognize. Look at the teams that did it and look at where they are.
Yeah, the Dolphins were on the step of the playoffs
in the first round.
The Eagles were in the Super Bowl.
So AJ Brown is probably a top 10 wide receiver in the league. So I think that I'm not putting Christian Kirk in that category.
Yeah, no, I'm not putting Christian Kirk in that category.
I'm differentiating between elite wide receivers and middle of the road wide receivers is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, Brandon Cooks is a great example. So is Robert Woods.
So yeah, and look where are those teams at right now? They go home.
Yeah, I mean,
none of those teams seriously. I mean, Titans,
the Patriots brought in Cooks. They had a pretty good run. The
Rams
brought in Cooks and Woods, did pretty good, if I recall.
Well, Woods then went to the Titans, and what happened?
Well, yeah, but at that point, he's just past his prime.
My point of what I'm saying is that's what you're doing. You're overpaying for receivers that are past their prime, and you could. Let me get to the real point. You can replace that production through the draft.
I will agree with you.
You can replace Robert Woods' production through the draft. 100% you could do that.
We have had probably the best influx of talent at the wide receiver position.
Thank you for speaking the things that I apparently can't do tonight. Yes, that's it.
That I agree with.
Yeah.
But we've had that with a running back position too. And it hasn't dried up the contracts for the Brown, the Tyreeks, the Adams type is what I'm saying. Where somebody like
premier in their role, sure.
Right? But now take Saquon, who we just talked about.
Right,
it has done that to that.
It has done that, and yes, absolutely has done that. The elites, I don't think those are going anywhere. But the outlandish contracts to where you're like, holy shit, Christian Kirk got what? That stuff I don't think happens any longer. I don't think that.
I think the other thing that's tough.
I don't think we see that because, like you're saying, where are all the talent that isn't quarterback going now in high school and college?
Wide receiver is a blue chip position to me.
Yeah, Yes, that's where the talent is going, is what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah. Where are they going to play?
So instead of signing Christian Kirk to an outlandish deal, I can go draft some kid out of fucking Wake Forest in the 5th round that's going to give me the exact same production.
Yeah, but GMs don't think that way.
I think they're going to. I think they will. That's my prediction.
Because
they will think that way. I absolutely will see. Yes, 100%.
I think GMs trust more tape on the pro level than they do in scouting for the college, because I've seen it. I don't know. There's been so many instances of guys who have been just balls out good in college, and for whatever reason, whether it be injury or headspace or whatever it might be, just didn't translate to the NFL. But what does translate to the NFL is guys who have done it consistently. Now, you're right. There is a point of no return. And yeah, I brought up Cooks and I brought up Woods, but those guys had 7-year, like that's what we're talking about. Second contract guys.
Mm-hmm.
Third, maybe not. Okay,
Yeah.
That's fine. But that's the nature of the beast of the NFL. It's not for long. I think we're kind of talking about two different things here.
Maybe so.
I'm talking about maybe somebody like Christian McCaffrey, who's 5'11", would have had, there's no way he could have not done it. He'd rather have been Wes Welker than Christian McCaffrey. If I'm Christian McCaffrey, I would have rather been a slot receiver. Now,
why?
The newer version of that. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey got paid.
I was just saying, I think he made more career money already than Wes Welker ever has.
What I'm saying is a Christian McCaffrey type coming into the league now.
Oh, do it all back.
If I could do it all back, I'd be a slot receiver.
Yeah.
And it's the same way that Deebo Samuels last year was like, I'm not gonna play because in your offense you're using me as a running back, and if I'm not going to get paid, I'm a receiver. Or look at Jimmy Graham when the Saints franchise tagged him, and he's like, you're going to franchise tag me like a receiver, and they're like, no, we're going to franchise tag you like a tight end. And he actually, do you know what happened in the arbitration of it?
And of this recent contract for Jimmy?
No, like it was a while ago. Like the first, like when he got franchise tagged.
He's back on the Saints, by the way.
I know. In his Twitter profile, it said tight end for the New Orleans Saints. So he was trying to describe himself as a pass catcher, because a tight end at tag level
I remember
is not
this.
getting the same amount as receiver, but he's like, you guys use me like a receiver.
I remember this. Yes. Yeah, I do recall. It's like,
so
Jimmy,
now
right here. You're
look
saying
at tight ends,
end,
and they describe themselves as pass catchers.
Yes. That's interesting. That's fucking interesting, man. Yeah, I think like if I'm putting on a GM hat and if I have a gap at wide receiver, I'm not looking to the free, like let's say I've got my one, like let's say the Bengals had their one, they didn't have T Higgins. Like, let's say that was the case. I'm much more apt to invest a draft pick into that than signing it in free agency.
Yeah.
Even the end of the first round, which coincidentally is basically where the Bengals got T Higgins. Right? Like that production is so much easier and even more importantly, Aaron, cheaper than going out and signing some guy that's already got 4 fucking years of tread worn off the tires. Because, yeah, some guys are really good up until they're 30, and then they're not. Some guys, however, are only really good for a couple of years, and then they're not. And that's just the way it goes. That's the NFL in general. You could put any position into that, but yeah, I think elite wide receivers, yeah, absolutely. If I don't ever want the Bengals to go out and sign an elite wide receiver, though. I don't want that.
Yeah, it usually doesn't. And I even bringing up the ones that I did, the like Hopkins, Hill, Adams, Brown.
Like I don't think Hopkins is an elite wide receiver, though.
Oh, well, when he was acquired, he was not. I'm talking about going from Houston to
that was a trade, if I'm not mistaken, though.
Yep. So were the other 3. That is my point. You're right. The elite free agents don't hit free agency because those teams don't want to lose out on having value. This guy walk without get some value back. Because you saw Hill getting first-round picks, Adams getting first-round pick, Brown,
Allen Robinson.
Right, exactly. So
I'm convinced he's not as good as we thought he was.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to put on that because I've yet to see him play with a good quarterback. I mean, here's the thing. Last year, Stafford wasn't Stafford.
He wasn't there either.
Well, right. I mean, he was in Chicago with Trubisky.
Yeah.
And
before that, Blake Bortles.
And then now he's with what? Pickens. So we'll see.
Wait, now Kenny Pickett,
or Pickett, yeah. So here's the thing: I will never not get that right, or never get that right.
They have George Pickens as a wide receiver
Pickens and Pickett. Yeah. I'll verbally diarrhea the two of those for the end of their careers on the same team. It's just like verbal dyslexia.
I heard Steelers radio comment on their new name for the new quote unquote revamped offensive line that the Steelers have now, and I think it's a terrible name.
What is it?
The picket fence. Aaron, you can jump over those without using your hands.
Mm-hmm. You can.
The picket that is the last. Those are just ornamental.
I get it,
guys.
though. It's a cutesy name.
That's it.
Fine.
It's not the steel, the steel curtain.
Right. The vinyl picket fence, please don't.
That's an impenetrable thing, a steel curtain. That defines a defensive line.
You know what?
Picket fence?
We just had some major storms roll through here in the last 2 weeks, and I can tell you picket fences are destroyable.
Very much so. Very much so. No, it's just death.
Here's the thing. I both love and hate it. It's from a name standpoint, it makes sense. It's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. But you're right. When you really break it down, you're like, all right, well.
Just call it the wet paper bag.
I can't wait for George Wetbag to join the league.
What the fuck? All right, we got to wrap this shit up. We're going on 90 minutes plus. 96 minutes is what you got from us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's it. I think we're going to get the fuck out of here. We'll be back next week with more football talk because it's here, whether you like it or not. Football's back. Sorry,
I get to watch the Browns a week from today.
Dude, a week from today, you're going to be watching the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to watch it, or are you just going to kind of have it on that TV over your left shoulder?
I'll probably watch. I'll watch the first half pretty intently.
So do we get you next week, or you're working?
Are we just doing exclusively Thursdays?
I don't know.
Kind of like the Wednesdays, man, because we're going to have football on Thursdays.
We're going to have football on Thursdays. That's true. We got some scheduling to figure out. That's for sure. I think Wednesdays make sense.
I'm a Wednesday guy myself.
When we get back to it, I think that makes the most sense. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll figure this shit out. Anyway, that's it. Again, for those of you watching on Facebook or on YouTube, if you're just catching the show now, you can get all of this on Spotify. Episodes are up every day after the aired show about 11 a.m. We're going to get that up. Make sure you follow. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Pod. We're on fucking Amazon. Wherever you get your podcasts, that's where we are. And if you're listening on Spotify, you want to check out a live stream, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on TikTok and Twitter. For Aaron, I'm Corey. This has been another episode of Grey's Anatomy. Have a great night.